Nation, what is good? DJ Eastwood here. I got Sixers Greg at Sixers Greg now, the new username on Twitter. That is Greg Melly on YouTube. Or did you change your YouTube name too? Or just
Nah, we're chilling with the YouTube name
Melly on YouTube, Sixers
for now.
Greg on Twitter. I got to pour up a little bit after watching that debacle. Okay, so the Sixers lose to the Toronto Raptors without Fred VanVleet. Were they missing any other players?
OG.
Without VanVleet, without OG Anunoby, they lose 119 to 114. In disappointing fashion. I guess the first thing people want us to cover kind of is the fact that Matisse Thybulle can't play in Canada. Matisse Thybulle cannot enter Canada currently because of stipulations that I'll just say go against what he a personal decision of his. That's the best way I'm going to say it, and I'm not going to give my opinion on it one way or the other. But we're playing without Matisse Thybulle in Canada. I don't know if Matisse Thybulle would have made a massive difference in his game. I think defensively he would have, obviously. But the Raptors are very athletic, very well coached. This is the same team that held Joel Embiid, not the same players, but this is the same coach that strategized and held Joel Embiid to a 0-point game in 2019 and a 1-point game in a playoff game, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So athletic, very well coached. In the half court, they play very good defense, and the Sixers' flaws shined deep towards the end of this game, especially the lack of athleticism and lack of explosion from a couple of different players, namely James Harden, Tobias Harris, Danny Green, even though Danny Green put up some points, but this was bad. This was bad. After being up so 17-2. All right. And again, how do I keep trapping myself into this? How in the first half of these Sixers games when they're absolutely smacking a team, how do I fall into the trap of believing that we're about to blow a team out? Why do I still think that?
I don't even have anything to say to that. It's a great question. This hurts, man. This hurts. But before even jumping into the next hour and a half we have, I will say, Sixers Raptors round 1. I'm taking the Sixers. I'm still taking the Sixers in that series.
Oh, hot take. Screen record. Hot take.
Yeah.
Hot take.
I'll go on record and say I still have the Sixers beating the Raptors in a 7-game series. It might take 7 games, but I'm still taking the Sixers in that first round series.
I'm curious to know why you think that. Because I just think teams that are uber athletic like this, we almost, unless we shoot the lights out like we did in the first quarter, and they went on to shoot the lights out also and answer, but unless we shoot the lights out, we're getting out hustled, out rebounded by 1,000,000. I don't even have to look at the stats to know that they out rebounded us by probably almost 20. We had not even 20. They only out rebounded us by 4 rebounds. They had 12 offensive rebounds. That's the big number, as is usual with the Sixers against an athletic team like the Raptors. So I just think a team like this with that level of athleticism and youth and is going to expose our flaws very quickly.
I think the thing that frustrated me the most tonight was just like, dude, Tyrese Maxey hit like 3 threes 6 minutes in the first quarter, and then it's like he doesn't even touch the ball until the fourth quarter. And then he finally touches the ball, and he scores like 5-7 straight points. I'm like, dude, why do we go like allow one player to go for like 9 minutes and then just take the ball out of his hands and then give it back to Harden and let Harden do whatever the hell Harden did tonight? And it's just not enough pick and roll. And Nick Nurse ran some zone, and it worked against us. And I mean, we get outcoached so hard against this team. And the worst part about it was we deserved to get blown out tonight. Because how many nights are we going to have Danny Green hit 6 threes? 3 of them were just like prayers that went in. And like where I'm like, no, 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 no. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Danny. Like, dude, that's not going to happen again. Like, Niang hit some big threes. He usually does that. I'm here for that. Tobias shot the ball well in the first quarter, but the Sixers, outside of that first quarter, deserve to get blown out. Like, blown out. And yeah, the Raptors made some tough shots. Pascal was an absolute All-NBA player tonight, and I had him on my All-NBA third team a week ago when I put that my list out there. But man, I don't know whether it's the adjustments from Doc that just were not good. Embiid did not play great defense on Siakam in the fourth quarter. He looks tired. He looks exhausted, and he should be because he got triple covered every second of the game tonight. And Harden did absolutely nothing about it. Like, this was arguably the worst game he's had as a Sixer tonight, and it was just he could have done a little bit more, just a little bit more, and we would have won that game. But he looks like he has no lift on his shot. He is drawing contact or tries to on every single drive. He doesn't try to make any layup. He looks, I hate to say this word, but he looks washed, and it does not look good. And I'm hoping it's like this injury thing, but hamstrings are not easy to come back from. They're easier to come back from if you're a hard worker in the offseason and you put a lot of effort into your body. And Harden is not that guy. And if it's injury, I'm sure it is, honestly.
He's not.
But
He's not that
it's
guy.
because
He's not.
he's not that he's not a guy that puts in physical effort to get his body ready. And this is a really bad sign, a really, really bad sign for Harden and his progression as a Sixer player because it did not look good tonight. Like, I love his playmaking,
Yeah.
but I didn't get James Harden to give us 9 points, 12 assists. I don't give a shit about that. Give us 20 to 25 a night, and we do not lose games. It's that simple. The Sixers have the roster to be like a top 2 team in the NBA, but Harden just does not play the basketball that we need him to play, and it kills us.
Against teams like this, man, Harden, when you say 20 to 25 a night, there most of this game when I'm watching him, like when he's in a situation with the shot clock running down or something, whatever, however he ends up in an ISO situation, which I would like to minimize at this point, because I look at it starts to look like, hold on a second, this guy can't score on anybody. The dude can't, especially a team like the Raptors with the young athletes that they have. He can't score on anybody. Like, he looks in this game and a lot of games, but this game he really looked like a 45-year-old man out there trying to score on 6'9", 18-year-olds and getting absolutely abused.
I mean, he had Kem Birch in an ISO like twice and did nothing about it. And if he's not scoring on Kem Birch, I hate to break it to you. And look, guys, I hope just as much as the next guy that he turns into playoff Harden and he's just resting up now. But like, there's something about a competitor that you would never see a player do that. Like, you would never see Giannis play that way right now. Like, Giannis, even resting, would still be better than this. And I just mean like effort wise, or just like knowing what we need of you in the moment. Like, it's just the lack of awareness and the dribbling out for 21 seconds and then making a bad pass to Paul Reed at the end of a shot clock. Like, that's the stuff that drives me crazy. I love James Harden. I think he was the perfect player to get. Like, I'm still going to hold on to that feeling, but this is not what we got. Like, this is not what we traded for. You know what I mean? And it's so frustrating because we saw it for a couple of games. Like, we saw what happened to the honeymoon phase. We were all riding high. Like, it really ended that quickly.
He ran the stairs. He ran the stairs and shredded his hamstring. I swear to God, ever since he had that amazing game, 29-point triple-double, Joel Embiid had like a 40 and 15. It was crazy. James is like, I'm going to go run the stairs to show off and show everyone that I'm ready to work. And ever since he ran the stairs, this is what we got. I'm telling you. I don't know what he did on the stairs. But like I said, we have technology now. You don't have to run on concrete stairs in an arena. You can go get a therapeutic massage from a trainer or whatever else.
Right after a game with shit probably all over those stairs. The dude stepping on lost iPhones and stuff. Like, James, just relax, buddy.
Stepping on popcorn and soda and man, come on. But I want to say this. I really think that it's time for us, Doc Rivers, the coaching staff, to understand that we didn't get the James Harden that we thought we were getting. We did get an elite facilitator. He will make getting 15 assists look easy. He will do that. But it's time for us to accept the fact that Tyrese Maxey is the number 2 scorer on this team. And that's just all there is to it. Tyrese Maxey is the number 2 scorer on this team. I need more than 11 field goal attempts from Tyrese Maxey in this game. There's no reason for James to be 3 for 12 when he can't He looked like he can't do anything. Why is he even trying to shoot the ball 12 times? There has to be a lot more centrified offense. I don't know if that's how I should say it, but there has to be a lot more offense centered around Tyrese Maxey.
I think that might be a Doc thing. And I'm not hitting like the panic button in Sixers either because, like, dude, I'm not. It's a regular season game. There's a couple games left. Everyone's tired. It shouldn't be 82 games in a season anyway. It should be 72. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not hitting the panic button for a game that we lost in Toronto. I'm not. Like, I still think the Sixers win any first round matchup that they're going to get this year. But, like, I'm looking for a championship. I'm looking are the Sixers contenders? And I don't think so. I don't think so. And with this iteration of James Harden that we have, it's not. And with Doc Rivers, like, seeming to take Tyrese Maxey out of the game that he did tonight, like, that's not good coaching. And Nick Nurse is going to eat Doc Rivers alive. And I think we're lucky that we have Joel Embiid because Embiid probably wins us a 7-game series against our Raptors team that's arguably just much better than us.
Embiid was still, I mean, with double teams, triple teams, quick double and triple teams, he puts up 30 and 10. The 5 turnovers come from him being, doubled and triple teamed very quickly. And yeah, it's the Raptors. The Raptors, Nick Nurse plus athletes is gonna be problems for anybody. The guy he's a damn good coach. His strategy is always on point. He always knows what he wants to attack, like right off the bat. And he executed something. My other major point for this game is, especially when you're going against the Raptors and you look at the lack of athleticism on the Sixers team, and we've been clamoring for this for a long time. People come at me on Twitter and in some Facebook groups and things saying, like, what makes you think Paul Reed would do any different, or what makes you think Charles Bassey would be any different? Paul Reed finally gets on the floor. I don't think Doc made the decision. I think somebody ahead of Doc made the decision and said, listen, somebody else made the decision. As somebody with a little bit more of a less narcissistic brain in their skull that can look at the game with an open mind, or just with common sense, and saying, you got to play somebody behind Joel Embiid who can get up with these Toronto boys. Paul Reed got 11 minutes in the game. Okay. Paul Reed, I've been saying this for a long damn time, and it should be obvious to anybody that really watches the games and knows what's going on. In 11 minutes, Paul Reed had 7 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds, a steal, and a couple of like blunders, a couple of dumb turnovers. He's rusty. He's just getting thrown into a game. He had a freaking amazing game as far as his energy, his athleticism, his ball tracking. His offensive rebounds were something we haven't seen on this Sixers team this entire season. The way that he would go from under the rim and chase the ball all the way to the three-point line and out-hustle every other player on the floor. And I'm pissed off thinking about it, because why the did this not happen a long time ago? You need athletes, damn it. Like, I don't understand how Doc Rivers doesn't see that. So he finally gets forced to play the guy, and he gets 7 rebounds in 11 minutes. And honestly, in the fourth quarter, we got beat again on the glass. I mean, Siakam, a play that sticks out in my mind is Siakam takes Tobias to the rim. Tobias plays good defense. Siakam misses it, but gets the offensive rebound because Tobias doesn't box out anybody ever. And he puts it back up and gets an and one. Like, somehow, some way, and I know Doc Rivers would never do this, you need Paul Reed on the floor in the fourth quarter to battle them on the boards somehow, some way. I don't know. Maybe Danny Green is on the bench, maybe something. But when you're out there with Tobias Harris, Danny Green, and James Harden, you're getting smoked on the glass 10 times out of 10 against the Raptors. And I just can't believe that Paul Reed finally got minutes and he looked the way that he did. I hope that wins him some playing time. I never want to see Paul Millsap again. I probably never want to see DeAndre Jordan again. I'm being honest with you. And you might as well accept the fact that you played athleticism and it worked for 11 minutes. Now bring Charles Bassey up too. It's not going to happen. But if we had both of those guys in the rotation, young athletes who can rebound and block shots, and the team would look different than it does right now. There's my Paul Reed rant. But there's no point in me ranting because it's not, Doc's not going to do what I say.
I like it. Like, I think the Paul Reed let's see him what he's like with Embiid on the court. Like Paul Reed's a little undersized to play the natural five, and so defensively, I think we would struggle. Like he's a great, unique defender. He's probably like the third or fourth best defender on the team, and we're just not playing him. And when Doc put him in, I had to Google if DeAndre Jordan got suspended. That's how little faith I have in my head coach that I had to Google to see if a guy
For the
got
flagrant
suspended
too.
for the flagrant two, which is just a terrible call. But I wish he got suspended for the year. But I mean, but Paul Reed came in and played awesome. Like he had some blunders, yeah, but that's what happens when you don't play a guy for the first 2 years of his career and wait until the sixth to last game of an NBA season. And he already has made more of an impact than DeAndre Jordan or Paul Millsap. And just based off of just pure energy of grabbing rebounds alone, you have to have him in the game of a playoff game. Like you have to play him because he will beat teams. Like he is a guy who matches up very well against Toronto because Toronto has a lot of guys who are kind of like him. And if Paul Reed can do that up against other teams that he's just going to out hustle, it's huge for us. And I think if you even put Paul Reed in the game with Embiid at the same time, maybe have Thybulle off the court, like it's just one less thing that Embiid has to worry about doing. Paul Reed can just go out there and just be an animal on the offensive and defensive glass. Like that's all we need him in. You know what I mean? And Shake Milton had a good game tonight too. And I think Shake playing the way he's been playing lately is going to be really big for us come playoff time. But like, I just don't understand Doc Rivers' inability to allow this to happen 50 games ago. So all of this rust that we're talking about Paul Reed having doesn't have to be here. Like it doesn't have to be here. Like why aren't we just playing him? Like why did we spend every faculty the Sixers had on getting 4 centers to not play any of them and to have no wing help, especially with Thybulle not being able to play in Toronto? This isn't brand new news that is coming to Philadelphia. Like we've known this, obviously.
Yeah.
And so for Doc Rivers especially to be so persistent on getting DeAndre Jordan, because all of the news out has been it's a guy that he asked Morey to go and get. It's crazy to me because I just wish we could go out and get more wing help because that's exactly what we missed today, and it sucks because we have 4 centers on a roster. 2 of them are unplayable, and 2 of them he doesn't play at all. So it's just like I don't understand. I don't understand Doc Rivers. I don't understand the majority of how this roster is constructed. And the only thing that hurts me is if we have another first round exit or a second round exit. Like what is Joel thinking in the back of his head if there's another second round exit? Like I know he wants to win here more than anything, but like at some point it becomes a Damian Lillard thing. And I know that's not for a couple of years down the line, guys, so don't jump in the chat saying I'm thinking Embiid wants to get traded, but like 2-3 years more of this, like it's going to start being a hot topic. And I am so scared for that day because I cannot watch Embiid ever play in another jersey. And that's my only thing.
Well, if there's another first or second round exit, I think I don't think Doc Rivers would return. There's already the rumors that he's one of the candidates for the Los Angeles Lakers head coaching job, which Lakers, if you think that's going to fix any issues, that's just downright hilarious. B, why would he be on that list if he's on a 4-year contract right now? I don't unless it's becoming a mutual agreement between them that like, hey, listen, if you want to leave this offseason, we're not going to be too mad about it. I don't know. But the Sixers had 4 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter. 3 of them were Danny Green off of long rebounds where the ball came right to him. Not saying he didn't hustle, he did. The other offensive rebound in the fourth quarter was Paul Reed in 3 minutes. Tobias Harris 0, Joel Embiid 0. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying it would have been easy to try to fit him in there, but I just think what he was doing, sticking with those guys on the boards, as soon as you took him out, like the way that we lost that in the fourth quarter to me was getting out hustled because everybody on the floor is, old and can't jump. James Harden, Tobias Harris, and Danny Green all on the floor together against a bunch of athletes. You're cooked. I don't know what else to say about that situation.
Plus, Nick Nurse just knows how to guard Embiid.
He does. Yeah.
Nick Nurse just knows how to guard Embiid, which sucks because, Embiid always seems to have, like you said earlier, he has his worst games against Toronto. So, like, a first-round series against Toronto and seeing Embiid struggle is going to make the narrative be crazy, and I'm just, like, I'm already frustrated.
I'm really confused
Oh
by
man.
our 3-point percentage in the first half was 57. We shot 57% from 3 in the first half. I thought we fell off harder than we did. We shot 47 in the second half. Those are still pretty damn good numbers. The Toronto shot 35 in the second half. In the in the second quarter is where they went nuts after we had the lead. They shot 67% from 3 in the second quarter. Um, Precious Achiuwa 2 for 2, Gary Trent Jr. 2 for 2, Chris Boucher of course gets in there. Uh, we might have lost this game by a lot more if Tobias Harris didn't elbow the shit out of Chris Boucher and take him out of the game. Did he come back in? I don't remember, but
I don't know.
um,
He did elbow the
Malachi
shit out of him,
Flynn Malachi Flynn had a three, and it was an and one because Danny Green tackled him into the stands. I I just man, they went nuts in the second quarter and answered our first quarter run, and the second half, man, we were just getting out hustled, out rebounded, out everything. In the second half, James Harden was 1 for 8 from the field, 0 for 3 from three. Um, 2 turnovers. Well, the one drive he drove and like didn't have an option after he kind of realized in the moment that he can't jump and just threw the ball off the bottom of the backboard. And I was like, oh
Yeah, it
my
was ugly.
God. And he had a wide open step back that he airballed.
Yeah.
I don't want to rant
Almost
about
like there
James
was like a
Harden the
minute
whole show,
apart.
but
It was like a minute apart from the two. I also want to say, like, every time we play the Raptors, they have some random big man who just splashes threes. Like
oh yeah,
like Chris Boucher.
Chua.
Remember, like, was it like
Yeah.
earlier this year, last year,
Uh-huh.
Boucher hit like 9 threes, and now Precious Achua is taking pull up threes and splashing them. Like, dude, what is this? With the confidence that the Raptors play with against us, it's crazy. But like, I'm also not going to be like, oh my god, the Sixers suck. They just lost to the Raptors without OG Anunoby and Fred VanVleet. Like, dude, the Miami Heat lost to the Sixers without everybody, and then they
Mm-hmm.
lost to what was the other team they lost to right after? It was like the day after Philly, whatever. But teams do it all the time. The
Yeah,
season's almost over. They're not running the same intensity as they were 3, 4 weeks ago. Like
you're right.
I'm not stressing this loss as bad as a lot of Sixers fans are probably, but like, yeah, there are things that the Sixers need to fix. Of
The
course, we
question
knew
did
this.
did we really want to win this game like badly? Like I because we needed Boston to beat Milwaukee in the first place for us to jump up to the 3 seed. And
And they
Boston
didn't.
said, "Ha, we don't care. We're gonna rest Jason Tatum because we don't give a shit." So it didn't really do anything for the seeding either way, even if we won this game. Um, because
No.
Boston tanked against Milwaukee, because Boston doesn't want to play Brooklyn in the first round. Strategy move by them. They're going to claim that they just randomly rested Jason Tatum, I guess, or he had a sore ankle or some shit. I don't know what they're saying, but um, like, did we really want to win this game that bad? It's a good point that once they started coming back and we fought hard. It's not like the players were out there not trying, but yeah, I mean you're right.
Yeah, I mean every team wants to like every player in the NBA wants to win. Like no one's going out there and trying to lose, you know? Like that's not how that's not how they've made it to the point in their careers that they've made it. Like you want to be better than everybody. And obviously like they are trying to win the game, but like retrospect, yeah, we didn't I don't want to be the 2 seed. I would rather play the Toronto Raptors than the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. Like that's facts. That's objective. That's a straight up fact. Like, do I want to play the Raptors round one? Probably not. I would like to be the 3 seed to play Chicago, 4-0 steamroll them, and then lose in the second round to whoever we play. But like, yeah, I don't want to play Brooklyn, so I'd rather be the 4 seed than the 2 seed.
I don't know.
They do
I
too.
don't know if I'm there. I don't know if I'm there because when I look at the defensive intensity from a team like the Raptors, and I look at the Nets, really living and dying on 2 superstar players being hot. Um, the Nets were down 24 to the Knicks last night in the first half. They came back and won because of, again, they have 2 superstars that are really good at scoring, and the Knicks are really good at finding ways to lose games. Um, but I don't know, man. Like, I think if you think you can't beat the Nets, you might as well get it out of the way in the first round. That's kind of the way I see it. Because if we can't get to the finals,
That's true.
I'd rather lose in the first round. to make the front office say like, okay, this ain't working, let's change some stuff, instead of like, oh well, Doc almost got us there, so we're gonna give him another year. Um, they're both two tough teams either way. But again, yeah, you're right. Let's not overreact, because when you look at the 3 previous games, we smoked the Hornets by 30. We put up we beat the Cavs. They made a run again at late, but that's a pretty good young team. And we pulled that game out. I do think that those 3 games in a row, we ran a ton of Joel Embiid, James Harden pick and roll the entire game, all the way through the third, into the fourth, all the way down till the game was over. And we got another game tonight where I don't know the numbers, but just off the top of my head, it looked like a whole lot of nothing in the second half. A whole lot of not a lot of organization or real strategy going on.
Yeah, I didn't see much pick and roll action at all. I don't know why we don't run it with Maxey either. I don't know. Doc really just lets these guys roll out ISOs for as long as they want, and it's like that's what I'm really frustrated in. And like that's a good point. Like play whoever. If we beat him, we beat him. If not, wasn't meant to be. Like as Sixers fans, we're kind of tired of like trying to figure out the best tiny route it is to get to the championship. Like last year, we had the perfect route for a championship. We played the
easiest
Atlanta
road
Hawks.
to the championship.
The Atlanta Hawks, easiest possible road, and we still blew it. So it's like, if we're going to blow it, the Sixers are going to find a way regardless. We blew 3 20-point leads last year. Like, we'll find a way, So, like, we might as well just give us the Bucks round 1. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, whatever. But there's a lot to be upset about tonight. But, again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, our season's over. Because, dude, this was us 2 weeks ago, and they lost 3 in a row, and then they came out and they won 3 in a row. It's the NBA. It's the end of the season. This is the most random part of the season. Every year, Random shit happens.
Greg Melly here to calm us all down, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. You're right that Doc just lets them kind of run whatever they want, and then he'll in the post game I didn't see his post game today, but I'm pretty sure I could pretty much predict exactly what he's going to say. He's going to say, "Yeah, in the second half, there wasn't a whole lot of action. We were just really standing around and playing ISO ball too much, and I didn't like that." And he comments on the game as if he's somebody sitting in the second row watching and not the coach of the team. So it's like he doesn't even coach during the game. It's like he has a pregame lineup, a game plan, and then he's like, go do this. And if they don't do it, they just don't do it for, the whole second half.
Yeah.
I don't know about Doc.
Doc's not a good coach. As Doc, I don't think anyone's coming in here wondering if Doc's a good coach or not. We have solidified for the last 70 games and almost last year too. He's just not good. He's not good. His arrogance is disgusting. He's a lazy coach. He doesn't make adjustments. He allows star players to do whatever he wants to do. His practices are notoriously cakewalks. He's not a good coach. It's not 1994 anymore. He doesn't know how to coach in the modern day NBA. So, hey, maybe he gets fired. Maybe we get a better coach. Maybe Morey comes in, trades what we don't need for what we need, and the Sixers can somehow look better next year. My thing is, like, do we hope that Harden takes the player option so we have another year to wonder to give him a max deal? Or, like, what do you think is going to happen there?
Yeah, I think James Harden knows what's going on, the same as we're seeing what's going on. Like, I don't think he's an idiot. I think he can definitely feel himself not being able to dominate guys on the offensive side of the ball, and it even shows in his lack of confidence. As the game goes on, he'll pass up open threes. There was one tonight where it swung to him in the corner, and he did a little pump fake and drove and kicked it back out. So it starts to affect his confidence. So I don't think James Harden is sitting here like, yo, I deserve to get a super max in 2 seasons. Give me $200+ million. I'm James Harden. I think he might be on a point where he's like, listen, I'm a little slower than I used to be. I can still pass the ball very well. I can still run a half-court offense. I would think he would take the player option, and then, after that, we could decide what we want to do. I just don't think maybe another team, if they're not watching him as closely as we are, is going to be like, yo, James Harden, we'll give you $200 million or whatever it is. I don't really know how super maxes work, but
I promise you teams will do that. I promise you.
Do you think the Sixers would do that?
Yeah. The Sixers did that with Tobias Harris. Like
And it was
the
bad,
exact same,
very bad.
the exact, literally, DJ. Like
But
let's
they don't
flash
want to do
back to
that
the night
again. They
where,
have to learn from their mistakes, right?
yeah, but like the same thing holds true. Like we trade a certain amount of stuff for a guy and then let that guy walk, you lose everything. So Elton Brand didn't want to sign Tobias Harris to a $180 million contract, but you can't just leave or let Jimmy Butler walk and Tobias walk. Like he had to re-sign him. As bad of a signing as it was, he had his hands behind his back. And this year is the exact same thing. Like if anything, maybe there's a deal where we can do a sign and trade with Harden, like for Beal or something. I have no idea. But like what I'm saying is like it, there are going to be at least 10 teams in the NBA that offer Harden a max deal because there have been way worse contracts. And to take maybe 2 more good years of the 5-year deal for Harden, teams are going to do that. Like the Hornets or like teams with the cap that want to make a run right now. So the Sixers are like they kind of have to. If Harden declines his player option, like the Sixers are kind of have to offer him a deal.
But if he's declining right now at 32, not even 33 years old, I mean, what's the level of play going to be next season and 2 years after that? I'm not seeing a $200 million player.
No, no one is. No one is.
I
I
just don't
don't think.
understand. I don't know how you could make that decision and say, yeah, we're going to give him a max contract when he's scoring 11 points in big games. Unless can he does James Harden's an interesting individual. Does he have the motivation? The thing with the NBA in today's day and age is if you play very good for 9 years like James Harden did, he already has $300 million to his name, whatever his net worth is, I don't know, but he doesn't have to play basketball again if he doesn't want to. So there has to be a LeBron James like psychopathic level of motivation for somebody to want to keep going. When they have that much and have already done that much, they could just be like, nah, I'm good. So
I
it's like,
think
is he motivated? If he is, maybe he can get in the offseason and really get into training and start A, sleeping for 8 hours a night, B, partying less, hanging out with rappers until 4 a.m, consuming less alcohol, like let's call it what it is, and having a better diet probably, because it's not just partying in nightclubs. It's chicken wings and beer, dude. It's like he's never been focused. He lived on natural ability for a long time. And now it's to the point where if you want to continue on and play great until you're 36 or 37, you got to change a whole bunch of stuff that you do normally.
yeah. Uh yeah. I man, it's tough. Like I think that Harden is a psychopath and wants to be in the NBA for a long time. Like to be that good, you have to be crazy. Like
Yeah.
you have to be crazy. And I think Harden, his work ethic is insane because he's gotten to the point of his career where he's at. But like it's because of his ability, and I think he's found ways to take it all, like take not take care of his body basically and still be insane. And now I think maybe he's finally starting to see the what happens when you do that. But I think it's just going to be more of him not changing and him never being able to come back from injuries. Like what I'm afraid of is he's just never going to come back again. Like he doesn't even have the opportunity to change his body and get into it because it's gone. Like it's just done. Like injuries are tough, man. And like, I don't know. It's not like Russell Westbrook where he just never adapted his game. Like Harden has adapted his game. The NBA has adapted around James Harden. And I just think it may be one of those things that like he may never be that guy again because it's too late, like Father Time already caught up to him and he wants it really bad, but it's not going to be as easy as he was. And it's going to be regretting now because like, damn, I wish I got in shape 6 years ago when I was in Houston and I wouldn't be here where I'm at now. And my window would be bigger, but I think he wants to be in the league. And I think he really, really wants to win really, really bad because I think he cares what people say about him deep down. I think everybody does, but
Yeah, probably.
it's just not as easy. It's just not going to be as easy for him anymore because the damage is already done.
Hamstrings are tough, man. Like the way that I look at it, I'm older than James Harden, which sounds funny to say. I don't feel older than James Harden, but I don't know. I see athletes on TV. I just feel like they're like, I don't know. But when I played basketball in 10, 20 years ago, whatever, I was one of the quickest people on the court, right? And I don't play much anymore, but when I do, I'm not even close to, I'm one of the slowest people on the court. And I don't train or anything, but I've pulled hamstrings several times also. And I guarantee you, there's nothing I could do training wise right now to be as quick as I was when I was 25. There's nothing I could do. So maybe James Harden's at that level where there's no shot of him getting that athleticism back because the hamstrings, aren't they're not young and healthy. They're just not. They're beat up and they're probably tight all the time. He probably, has a whole bunch of procedures that he goes through to loosen them up just to be able to play the game. Like, so if you get this Chris Paul-esque James Harden, it's not a bad player to have. It's a good player to have in the half court, but you're not getting a superstar. I can't even really put him on a Chris Paul level right now after watching this game, but I think he can be that going forward in his career.
Yeah, I mean, I still would like to see Harden in the playoffs. Like, before all of us jumping to conclusions, including myself, I would like to see Harden perform in the playoffs because it's a different animal. That's when it all matters.
It's more intense.
Yeah, and who maybe we're all duped and fooled at Harden playing this right now, and then he comes out in the playoffs and he's given us 20-point triple doubles. He's given us 25, 11, and 10. Who knows? Like, maybe he has it in him, clearly, but it's kind of heartbreaking because we know what he can be, and it's like we just got him 2 years too late. But at the same time, like, it's better than what Ben Simmons would bring us by a long shot.
100%.
So it's like I'm cool with Harden playing this game compared to Ben Simmons on the team at all, like at all. So and Maxey playing the way he's playing, like, we just need to be able to. If the worst case, Harden becomes a 15 point per scorer like next year, 2 years from now, and we have Tyrese Maxey kind of take that scoring helm, like, as he should, because Maxey is our best perimeter scorer on the team, even with Harden playing the best he's played this year. Like, Maxey is still that guy. Like, Maxey is so good. He saved the Sixers team so many times this year. And as long as Maxey can, like, take that whatever the analogy I'm looking for, as long as he can take the throne and Harden is willing to give it to him, and whoever the coach of the Sixers is going forward can give Maxey the throne, it changes everything. Like, we're a better team.
Harden's definitely willing to give it to him. Harden's actually feeds into it and motivates him and tells him to go do it and keeps when Maxey was hot in the first quarter, a specific play, like, Harden just dribbles the ball up the floor and gives it right to him and says, go again. You know what I mean? So he wants Tyrese Maxey to succeed. You need a coach that understands that should be happening. And I don't have faith in Doc Rivers understanding that should be happening. But if you change coaches if we fizzle out this season and we change coaches, you need a coach that can say Tyrese Maxey is the number 2 guy. And for Tyrese Maxey to be shooting 64% from the field in this game, 80% from 3, and only have 11 field goal attempts is like a crime against humanity. There's no reason for that. He should have, from that first quarter, Tyrese Maxey should have been the focal point outside of Joel Embiid every single possession down the court. It should have been get Tyrese Maxey around a screen going downhill. He's getting foul calls now. He's getting respect from officials. It should have been way more Tyrese Maxey, and I feel like we're saying that every game. But we'll see what happens in the playoffs. But there didn't seem to be much of a game plan in general, at least in the second half of this game. Actually, in the whole game, we were just shooting the lights out in the first quarter. If we don't shoot 57% from 3 in this game, we get smoked.
Yeah, we outside of the first quarter, the Sixers get blown out, and whatever, cool. We lose, we win. Tyrese Maxey's been like our number 2 guy for 2 years now. It's just so crazy how Doc is so incapable of just changing he just doesn't trust young guys at all, and it's so bad. Like, Tyrese is so good. He has become like a top 5 3-point percentage shooter this year. He's been shooting like 70% in the last month, and he's putting up crazy shots too. Like, he's not just wide open. Like, he's doing step backs. He's like shooting on the move. He's so good, dude. Like, he's so good. And so at the end of the day, like, the Sixers' future is going to be bright because we're going to have Tyrese Maxey. Like, he has the ability to become a perennial all-star, and he is exactly what we need. And he seems to be the only guard in Philadelphia 76ers history that just remembers how to shoot threes, because everybody else just seemingly forgets or just refuses to shoot threes. But
That's
Tyrese, man, we got to hold on to baby Jesus Tyrese Maxey for as long as possible, because that kid is a stud.
Positive take from Greg, man. Tyrese Maxey did not forget how to shoot. He got drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers, and he did not forget how to shoot. Actually, he wasn't even a great shooter. He learned how to shoot. That's something we haven't seen in the history of this franchise. A player
Yep.
being drafted and then learning how to shoot. He changed his jump shot. If you watch his Kentucky games, his jump shot is a higher release right now. It's quicker. It looks, it's unbelievable what he did in one offseason. And he's just when he shoots a wide open three, I'm like, it's going in. It's going in. He looks so locked in. It looks like it's automatic. The one that he missed, he only missed one in this game, by the way. He was 4 for 5. The one that he missed was a good shot too. It just shanked off the back rim, but he was just so locked in, and I'm just disappointed that he didn't put up more shots in this game. That's that's where I'm at with it in this game. But again, towards the end of the season, whether we won or lost this game, again, didn't make a difference in the seeding because Boston tanked against Milwaukee because they don't want to play the Nets and they're playing the strategy game. Yeah, I would have liked to see Tyrese Maxey be a bigger part of this game. Let's get through some super chats here. Keith Jackson said Doc made no adjustments for Siakam. Yeah, Siakam was cooking us. What did he finish with? 40? Siakam had 37, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists. A 37-point triple-double for Pascal Siakam. So, all the Raptors fans that tell me that he's a perennial superstar, and I always tell them he's not. He shut my mouth tonight. A 37-point triple-double against a top 10 defense. When Joel Embiid's on the floor, the Sixers are a top 10 defense in the NBA. That does have to do with Matisse Thybulle also. We might have been able to switch Matisse onto him to try to slow him down a little bit or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Siakam 37-point triple-double. Precious Achiuwa shot 64% from the field and 71% from three. So that's that's one of those things that, like, when a percentage is that high for me, I'm like, this didn't count. Like, that's how I see it. I'm like, it was just a game where the dude, like, we were playing 2K on Hall of Fame difficulty. The Precious Achiuwa shot 71% from three. What are you gonna do? The guy came down the floor like he was an NBA superstar and just pulled up 4 feet behind the line, just a heat check, and drilled it dead center of the net. It was so accurate. I'm like, Precious Achiuwa, really? Gary Trent Jr. shot 62% from three, 5 for 8. It's a make or miss league. We shot the lights out in the first quarter. They answered it really quickly. I did have a note. The Sixers are the only team I can think of that can build a lead and lose a lead in the same quarter. That we were up by 15 points. We go up by 15 early and lose the lead in the same quarter. I was like, they're going to blow this lead at some point. I thought it was going to last until the second half or something. Nope. First quarter, blown lead.
Instantly. I got a question for you, though. Real quick.
Up?
DJ, do you remember who the Miami Heat drafted right before the Sixers got Tyrese Maxey?
2020 draft. Number 20. Miami Heat?
Yep.
Tyler Hero?
Precious Achiuwa. Precious Achiuwa, man. It was his revenge game against us.
Hey, man, look, dude, they got a lot of young talent, man. That's you know what I mean? Like, if they can take this field of young talent and turn it into some kind of organized basketball team, maybe a big time free agent signing or something like that. That can be a damn good basketball team, and they have a really good coach to go with it. So, Aaron Cabbage, my man, I ain't gonna lie, I was happy when we got Harden, but I wanted CJ. He's been averaging 25 on 50% from the field and 40% from three, plus 6 assists and 5 rebounds since the trade. I worry we made a mistake. I mean, hindsight's going to be 2020. I don't think CJ is as good of a facilitator, even close to James Harden. And I think adding somebody like James Harden to Joel Embiid has opened up Joel Embiid's game even more than it already was, even though Harden's scoring isn't there right now. I like CJ McCollum, but the main reason people say that we should have made the CJ trade, or if there was a CJ trade available, or the Halliburton trade with the Kings, is that they think we would have been able to keep who they think were prized possessions, Seth Curry and Andre Drummond. And I got news for all of you. Seth Curry and Andre Drummond are not making that much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. I'm sorry. Andre Drummond would have had 5 fouls in this game, maybe fouled out. He's a great rebounder, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think they would have made that as much of an impact as people really think they would. I mean, that's why people look at the potential trades that we could have made or whatever and say things like that. I don't want to miss any
I would
super
have.
chats. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed to the channel. 614 people in here. Please hit the like button on the stream. That would be greatly appreciated. Even if you're a Raptors fan and you just came in here to talk shit in the comments and laugh, hit the like button because I'm giving you free entertainment. Okay. Kevin Wilson says DJ's beer has more hops than our entire roster. It does. It's very hoppy. Way hoppier than the Sixers roster outside of Paul Reed. But yeah, I agree with that.
I would have
What else
taken the
we got, man?
Halliburton. I would have taken Halliburton and DeJounte Murray over CJ. So CJ is no answer. I understand the point, but it's no different.
DeJounte Murray is a great young point guard too, man.
It's not-
Ben Smite Hero. Is that supposed to be Ben's my hero, like a play on words, or is that your actual name? I don't know. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chat. Ben is way better. Ben. All right, never mind. This is a troll. Ben is way better than Harden. Can't believe this bum team actually traded him away. SMH. There's just no way you actually just typed that. That's a
I
funny
don't know,
troll.
dude. Ben had a great year this year. He's been balling with Brooklyn too. So
That has to be a troll, right? He's not serious, right?
100%. Yeah. Ben
All
Simmons
right.
literally might never play basketball again. It's a great trade. I don't care. We didn't lose the trade.
Yeah, I mean, what were we supposed to do? He was refusing to come back.
Yeah, I don't.
Plus, for anyone that, and I know that was a troll, but for anyone that does think that Ben Simmons would have made a difference in a game like this against a defense like this in the half court, you got to go back. You got to rewatch some games. You got to rewatch some playoff games. You have to. The dude can't play basketball in the half court against defenses like this. Like, I remember the game where Joel Embiid had 1 point in the playoffs and Ben Simmons had 5 field goal attempts in the whole game. So it's not like he was helping him out or anything. The automatic double and triple teams were even heavier because you had a point guard that you don't have to guard in the half court. So, that was a troll anyway. It doesn't matter. Philly talk. Philly Mike, man, what's up, man? This game was concerning. Harden. Yeah, that's going to be where everyone's at tonight, man. Everyone's going to be, they're going to want to, the city of Philly is going to be wanting to burn Harden at the stake right now. And Greg is here to tell you all to calm down. He just, man, it's tough. The guy, not just losing a step, but he's been shooting really bad for a lot of games now. Ben Samite Hero, thank you for the support again. I guess as long as you keep throwing money in the chat, I'm going to keep reading them, but I'm not going to respond to them. The city of Philly misses Ben and wants him back. Next comment, please. Mr. 89, MVP's career will be sadder than AI's, in my opinion. Man, there's a lot of negativity going on right now, man.
I mean, Allen Iverson's in the Hall of Fame. If that's sad, I think 99% of NBA players wish to have a sad career. So even the fact that you're calling him MVP is pretty unsad.
Anyways.
I'm taking zero Embiid slander. That's one thing I refuse to take is Embiid slander. I'll go to the stake for that man.
Yeah, I think he's saying sadder than AI because the AI was great and the Sixers were unable to put any stars around him for 10 straight years. And so if that's the angle that he's taking, he's saying that Embiid is an MVP level player and we absolutely every single season can't seem to put the right team around him.
I apologize, Mr. 89. I misunderstood.
I think that's what he was going for. I'm pretty sure.
You're probably right.
Embiid had 1 field goal in the fourth quarter. Well,
Harden had the ball in his hands for 11 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yeah, we can't we can't have that. We can't have that. I'm gonna try the Discord. We got Daniel Hilt in the Discord. I don't know if it's gonna work on StreamYard. I have a bad feeling there's gonna be an echo, but uh, we'll give it a shot here, man. Daniel Hilt in the Discord.
Hello?
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Oh, it was a fun game to watch.
Fun game to watch.
It's clear that it's like, why are we putting him in ISO situation ball?
Harden.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. That was the whole fourth quarter of this game. The whole second half of this game, he was in ISO situations. I don't know. No idea.
it's not even Harden. It's not even Harden doing ISOs. I mean, Embiid's doing too many ISOs. I mean, I understand like he was going off like in the beginning of the third, but it's just like if you get some movement, it makes Nick Nurse have to think a little more.
That's I mean it's hard for me to even go there because we're asking, like with what you just said, we're asking Doc Rivers to outsmart Nick Nurse, and that's just never going to happen.
It'll never happen.
Yeah, we just I don't know, man. Like yeah, I agree that third and fourth quarter was just same thing we've seen in a lot of losses in this season.
And it's like RB just said, Maxey was going on a 7-0 stretch and then he never touches the ball again.
Yep, that's what Doc's been doing to us, man. And you know, it's either going to be he's either going to change something, which probably isn't going to happen because he's never changed anything in his career, and he goes down in flames all the time. This is not new for Doc Rivers. He goes down in flames all the time. You know, up 3-1 on whoever with the Clippers and blowing that lead and all of the leads that he's blown in the playoffs. Things start to not work and he does not adjust. And Sixers fans have now witnessed it and learned why everybody's been saying it for a long time. So, you know, I have no faith in Doc Rivers. I said a long time ago, I think he's going to be the downfall to our playoff hopes, but he did play Paul Reed in this game.
He did.
Step number one. I don't think it was his decision, but
You have to keep bullying him on Twitter, man.
Hey, Danny, thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right, man, later. Yeah, that would be funny if it wasn't Doc's decision, would it not be? Like if he was back there like, all right, fine, guys, fine. Sam wants Paul Reed. All you guys want the G League player to get minutes over the experienced NBA professionals. Fine, go ahead, throw him in there. And he literally had the second most rebounds on the entire roster in 11 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, probably exactly what happened. Sam Cassell was like, yo, just give me the clipboard. Give me 2 seconds. There's a guy named Paul Reed. He's on this team. I don't know if you know him, but he rebounds. And let's just try and throw him in. He's like, all right, dude, you want Paul Reed? You would never say that to Greg Popovich. And he puts him in, and then he comes in and clearly is the best backup five we've had since Andre Drummond.
Yeah, man. He like I posted the video on Instagram of Doc's comment where he said, like, after the Bucks game, where he said, "Oh, we almost went with Paul Reed, but you know, Giannis is just a tough matchup for him." And we were like, "Bro, a tough matchup for Paul Millsap, who got shredded for 8 straight minutes for 17 points." And then I posted all of the highlights of Paul Reed the last time he played Giannis when he held him 4 for 11, blocked the shot at the rim, played a great defense on him. And it's like, how can you not? How could he not know that? RB, what's going on, man? We ran the same 2 plays the entire fourth quarter outside of Maxey going on a 7-0 stretch. Then he got sent to the corner. It's sad we're trying to live in isolation land. Yeah, but just why is that? Like I said, the last 3 games we ran the pick and roll over and over and over because they couldn't stop it. I mean, do you think it was because they went zone a lot and the pick and roll wasn't going to work, or Jason Wall extra support?
I just think that it was one of those games where he didn't prepare. Like the team just didn't prepare. We were just like, let's see if we can just win the game. If we can shoot better than them, we shot better than them. No adjustments at halftime. We were up by 12 and we lost. It got out of our hands quick, and by the moment it was out of our hands, the game was over. Momentum was switched, and we lost the game. I just think it's as simple as that. Like I don't think we prepared as hard as we would if it was a more meaningful game. It's towards the end of the season. We lost. Shit. What are you gonna do? I don't think anybody's like really like like hitting themselves over this loss that's on the Sixers. Like I think Harden's like, yeah, I need to be better. And I think some guys like Embiid's like, yeah, I need to do more. And Maxey's like, yeah, I need to get the ball more. But I don't think it's like a groundbreaking, momentum killing loss. Like this isn't going to be the game we go back to at the end of the season and be like, this is when it all changed. You know, like everything that we know now, we knew before.
Yeah,
It's nothing.
for
It's
sure.
nothing new.
So do we rest players the last 2 games of the season? Because the Raptors are 2.5 games behind us, I believe, which would make the last 2 games not matter as far as winning or losing. Unless we still hope that something can happen and we can move up.
Yeah, I think he wants Embiid to get the MVP. Maybe he sits Harden. I hope to God he does, because ever since Rivers came out and was like, yeah, we're planning on sitting like Maxey, Harden, and Embiid, none of them have sat. So I would like to see Harden sit a game.
I'd sit them all for the last 2 games. I'd play the Delaware Bluecoats for the last 2 games. I would let Paul Reed and Charles Bassey go out there and get 20 rebounds apiece. That's just what I would do, because especially the fourth quarter of this game, Harden looks tired, man. Looks tired and slow and old. Mr. 89, I wasn't trying to slander the big guy between having 2-5 the Coach Rivers and how foolish the Sixers organization is. Embiid is getting screwed. Yeah, yeah, we got what you meant eventually. Yeah, he is. And he's 28 and he's not going to play for, he has enough skill to play for a long time. Like, if his athleticism declines, which it will eventually, obviously everybody's does, if he's not dunking on people, he still has enough skill really to be a really good center for a long time. Even if if he can stay healthy and just decline athletically and he might be able to play until his late 30s. Honestly, if he can stay healthy, maybe he'd be a 7-foot, 280-pound Tim Duncan, just get the ball in the block and hit some turnaround hook shots. I don't know. But as far as his prime, man, like, you're running out of time, and I just want to see them put the right team around him to win a championship, man.
So bad, man. Or just to see him get an MVP, just so like history has like a part of him in it. Pause. You know?
Do you agree with that they should play him so that he can get the MVP? Does that even matter, though? Because people that are watching are going to be like, well, he's stat padding because the last 2 games don't matter and he's still playing.
Yes, 100%. Nobody stat pads in the NBA better than Nikola Jokic, and that is a fact. Jokic is a great player, and is he deserving of the MVP? Yeah, arguably, but Embiid is too, and Embiid cannot stat pad to save his life. Jokic is so good at it. That's the only thing that is in Jokic's favor. He rebounds better, he passes better, and he stat pads. Embiid's the MVP. He should be the MVP, but whatever it takes, man. We're not winning a championship this year, so whatever it takes for Embiid to get the MVP, I need it.
I don't. How does that change anything, really, though? It gives Embiid an MVP, sure.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It changes nothing. It changes nothing.
Yeah, I kind of stopped caring about the MVP, really, especially when I started seeing lists and ESPN people talking about Luka Doncic is ahead of him now, and like none of this makes any sense, because last season the only thing they had against him was that he missed 30 games. This season he plays all of the games outside of having COVID for 2 weeks, and he's not even at number 1. That doesn't make any sense. He's having a better season than he did last season. He played all of the games. That's the only thing anyone ever held against him, was that he didn't play all the games. He did all that, and they're still not putting him up there? I don't get it.
It's not even that he's not number 1. It's that he's not number 2. That's my thing. He's either 1 or 2. Jokic probably is the MVP. I made a video like half a week ago, saying that, Jokic is probably the MVP. But then it goes Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. It's just like that. It's not Jokic, Giannis, Doncic, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Desmond Bane, Paul Millsap, and then Embiid. Like we gotta be a little better.
Who is Defensive Player of the Year? Giannis. Go look at the offensive stats. Giannis is tied for the best. The Bucks are ranked higher as a team. By the way, Giannis runs the NBA, and don't you ever forget it. The name's Chip Says.
I'll
Thanks
never
for that
forget
comment,
it,
Chip. We will
I'll
now
always
never
remember
forget that.
I'm getting that
Yes.
whole thing tattooed on my back tomorrow morning.
With all of the exclamation points, all 17 of the exclamation points you threw in there. We will never forget that. Giannis also has a great team around him, which is the only thing that I think is an argument against him for MVP. Obviously, nobody that knows ball would ever argue that Giannis is not an MVP candidate every single season.
Yeah.
But he has Drew Holiday running the show. He has Chris Middleton dropping 30 points. He has shooters all over the place. That's a great team. Embiid carried a 21-year-old point guard and Tobias Harris and Furkan Korkmaz in the gang. Like literally to the number 1 seed at one point throughout the season, with Ben refusing to play, and then the Harden trade and changing your entire style of play when Harden comes here, because you got to learn how to be a roller in the pick and roll. And like Embiid has been through way more than any of these players. Obviously I'm biased, but he deserves MVP. Damn it.
Facts.
I agree. I just stopped caring kind of because I feel like he's not going to win it, so I'm not going to cry about it. It's just
Nah, he's not.
The media hates him. They've hated him for a long time.
Yeah.
You got guys like Brian Windhorst voting for MVP. Why? What's the committee?
Dude, Brian
Who needs
Windhorst
to vote?
Brian Windhorst, look at him. That guy plays and knows basketball.
He said he's voting for Embiid, so I wasn't slandering him on the. He put out a video or there was a clip that he said he would give it to Embiid if he had to choose between or whatever. But I was just like, these are the people voting for MVP. Why?
Yeah, whatever.
Who makes the rules on who votes?
Also, the Raptors are definitely not rebuilding. Just because they're not a contender does not mean they're rebuilding. The Pistons are rebuilding. The Raptors just can't. They're stuck in the middle. So that's my take. Just because you're not expecting to win a championship doesn't mean you're rebuilding. When your team is Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, all of your best players none of them are like youth 21-year-old kids. They're all veterans who have been in the league for a couple of years now and are probably as good as they're going to get. That's not rebuilding. I hate to break it to you, Dan.
Yeah, they were building that team for a long time, and Kawhi took them to a championship, but then Kawhi leaves and then the Kyle Lowry trade happens, but Van Vliet and Siakam and all those players, they're not rebuilding now.
No. Just because they have young players that they play does not mean they're rebuilding, because the Sixers have 21-year-old Tyrese Maxey and Paul Reed today. Like, oh, okay, the Sixers are rebuilding. Don't worry, the Sixers are rebuilding. Like, exactly. I like the Raptors. I like them, but it's not a rebuilding team. Like, you need to understand the difference between rebuilding a team who is probably trying to lose to rebuild through the draft and a team who just isn't good enough to win a championship.
Yeah, and the Sixers, do you think – here's something I said yesterday. Like, I've come to the realization that I don't think it's the Sixers front office or management that can't find young talent. When I look at other teams and I say, how do they have all of this young talent? When I look at just even the New York Knicks and I see Jericho Sims jumping from the foul line to block shots and get rebounds, and I'm like, how do other teams always get this young talent and we never do? I don't think it's the front office that can't find the talent. It's the coach that doesn't know who to play.
It's lack of development. It's development, man.
And
the Raptors have the best development. That's why the Spurs were so good for so long. Kawhi Leonard was an absolute stud. Do you think Doc Rivers would have allowed that to happen in San Antonio when they were winning championships, to let a Kawhi Leonard, a kid who was just the 15th pick in the draft, come in and be a finals MVP? No shot. That's the difference between Greg Popovich and Doc Rivers. It's the difference between Nick Nurse and Doc Rivers. It's the development teams. It's just so much. It's totally different. Totally different.
If Nick Nurse was coaching this Sixers team, I seriously think Charles Bassey would be one of the best backup centers in the league as a rookie right now. when you watch the kid play, I mean, people need to go back and watch his highlights in November when he played against Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. He had 12.7 rebounds and 5 blocks in 20 minutes. I mean, it's the kid is a fucking stud and gets zero minutes in the NBA on a team with no backup center. On the perfect team to play him, he gets no minutes. And I'm glad. I'm just glad Paul Reed finally got minutes, because I think this is going to start to show everyone what we've been saying. And I tweeted and I said, Doc Rivers is dumb. The fans know more than Doc Rivers, and that's funny to me. And a lot of people will come at me and say, "Oh, you just, you Monday morning quarterbacks or whatever, armchair coaches. You think you know so much about the game? Do you really think you know more about the game than a veteran NBA coach who's blah blah blah?" Yes, and here's why. I have the ability to just look at the court with an open mind and no ego and no agenda, and just say, who do I think should be on the floor right now? Should Paul Millsap be guarding Giannis one-on-one for 8 straight minutes? Or should a 21-year-old 6'10 absolute physical stud be out there trying to guard him? He might foul a lot because he's young and inexperienced. Let him foul out. I'm just saying, Doc has an ego that shields him from seeing what the obvious is. And I've seen it from many, many, many head coaches in professional sports. I saw it from Doug Peterson at the end of the Carson Wentz situation in Philly. The Eagles had the worst offensive line in the league. On top of that, what should you do? Probably not drop back more than anyone in the league, but he did. More deep dropbacks than any team in the league, with the worst offensive line in the league, and led the league in sacks. Wow, add that up. The guy just had an ego that did not allow him to see what was going on. That's what Doc Rivers is. And I need a younger coach that just looks at things in just a simpler way.
Somebody who has something to prove equally as much as the players on the team. That's important.
Yes.
That's important. I don't want a guy who has tenure. It's like the teachers. When you're in high school and your teachers have tenure, they tend to be the shittiest teachers there, because there's nothing they can do that can get them fired. But the teachers who haven't gotten tenure yet and are still working to be good teachers, say crazy, they're the good teachers. And obviously youth has a lot to do with that, because it's how old are you when you get your opportunity. But like, it's just like Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse was an overseas, a great coach. Like, he proved himself overseas, and he finally got his opportunity to come over to America and prove how good of a coach he was. And that's exactly what he did, because he wanted that opportunity. Like, we need a guy who has not solidified himself as a fake top 15 greatest coach ever, because maybe once upon a time he was, but he's not that anymore. And we need somebody who comes in and wants to prove himself equally as much as the players. It's frustrating, man. It's frustrating.
It is. All right, man. Our guy RB has a question here that's a deep one and can be complicated. How do we fix this before the playoffs?
That's
Do you
like
think we need to fix anything before the playoffs? Because
that's like when it's pouring outside, and we're like, oh shit, there's a hurricane coming. How do we prepare for the hurricane? You're screwed. It's if you're already seeing the signs, you're screwed.
You said you're taking the Sixers over the Raptors in a series.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but are we just hoping the Sixers team gets the second round and loses, or do we want a championship, DJ? I'm going to be just as upset when we don't get the championship this year, even if I'm not expecting it. Like, I mean, the goal is to win a championship. The goal is not to beat a Raptors team in 7 games or 6 games or whatever it's going to be in a freaking round 1 matchup. Like, I think the Sixers beat the Bulls. I think the Sixers beat I mean, if somehow we played, I'm not even going to get into it. I think the Sixers beat the Raptors in a first round series, but I'm still going to be like, yeah, it's too late to try and fix the core problems with the Sixers, because we don't have depth. And you know what I mean? And it's, whatever.
Yeah, that's really it. You're going to get, out hustled and out rebounded by teams like this. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing, because when you're out there with Danny Green, James Harden, who else can't jump, can't run? Tobias Harris. I mean, one of the last plays of the game, where Siakam missed the shot on Tobias, got his own rebound, and got an and one. Tobias didn't even look to box out. We have so many players like that they don't even practice. They don't even have the fundamentals at the front of their brain. Like, I watch younger centers or power forwards that are really trying to do a good job and prove something. As soon as that ball goes up, they're looking for their man and they're boxing him out. We just have too many old players that, I don't know, man. They skip the fundamentals and they get beat. Like, Danny scored 18 points in this game. That's great. But if you watch that fourth quarter, he was a lot of the reason we were getting beat. Every single possession, it felt like, when the Raptors were just torching us.
Like, and these aren't even excuses. Like, we're not making excuses. What we're saying, guys, is just the Sixers are not good enough. Like, that's not an excuse. That's just like what we're saying. So, like, we're not like out here trying to be like, oh, like, if this happens, maybe the Sixers win it. Like, I think we could both confidently say we don't think the Sixers are going to win a championship this year. That's not an excuse. We're just saying that they're not good enough. Like, that's okay. And it's probably too late to make any like crazy changes and improve and get ready for the NBA Finals, because, like, you know what? But there is also a route where I think the Sixers have a better chance. If it's either the Sixers or Raptors who make the NBA Finals this year, it would be way, way crazier if the Raptors did it. That's all I'm going to say. Like, there is still somewhere, somehow, a chance the Sixers can at least make a run, at least go to the Eastern Conference Finals, because they are that good. When it comes to talent, they are that good. It's just that it doesn't work right now, and they're just not good enough right now. But it's not an excuse.
When it comes to winning an NBA championship, there's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of things that have to go right versus go wrong. And, like, we've seen things go very right for this team a lot during this season. We've seen games where the bench scores 40 points. We've seen games where we get 18 from Niang off the bench and 10 from Shake Milton and 10 from Danny Green and 12 from Matisse Thybulle somehow, some way. So there's been games where everything goes right. So it's not impossible. It's not. You could fight and end up in game sevens and shoot 57% from three just because everything was going right that night, and you could win a series that everybody thought you shouldn't have won. James Harden could somehow, some way, start making shots, and the game would be different if that happened. There's a lot of things that could happen. You know, the 2017 Eagles won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. Anything can happen. If you were going to bet on it, I'd put $50 on the Sixers to win a championship just because the odds are that high. I wouldn't put 5,000 on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you really had to guess, you're not going to guess that they would do it, but it's not impossible. Is what everyone's saying. Tobias Harris is the slowest 29-year-old in history. You're not wrong. He really looks like he's 39. He does. Imagination Studios backup 5: Milton, Thybulle, Harris, Reed, Bassey.
Dear Raptors fans in this chat, I will bet all of the money.
I haven't been reading the chat. I knew the chat was going to be like this, so I'm literally not reading anything besides my members and super chats. But go ahead. I like it for the entertainment.
I will bet every dollar I've ever had ever in my life that the Raptors do not win a championship this year. Heart of a champion only takes you so far. It took you to LeBron James for how many years in a row when you got shit on every single season until said that? Until you got Kawhi Leonard, who, hey guys, believe it or not, is one of like the 4 players in the entire league who can carry a team to a championship. Now, that Raptors team was incredible. The depth was incredible. This Raptors team is very, very good, but it's not great, and it will not get past the second round, no matter who you play, so I don't want to hear it. Just because the Sixers suck doesn't mean the Raptors are any better. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Who said that? Who thinks the Raptors can win an NBA championship this season?
Let me go up to the. I've been reading them a lot, but they're funny. Like, I'm trying not to like say anything, but like this one said, Greg's discrediting the heart of a champion. Never underestimate heart of a champion. Bro won a championship how many years ago? How many guys on this team were on that team? Siakam and VanVleet? Come on now. Not a championship.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where, people want to say, like, if you believe anything is possible. Listen, that's right in a lot of aspects of life, but not in
Not
professional
basketball.
sports.
Not basketball. Football, though, like I get it. That Eagles run, it's different because all you have to do is win one game. Not in a 7-game series against the greatest athletes in the world. I'm
They
sorry.
also had the best offensive line in the league and the top 2 or 3 defensive line in the league, and they had a great roster. All they needed was a guy to throw the ball, and it just so happened,
Exactly.
hey, look, Nick Foles can throw the ball. We're good to
All
go.
we had to do was just have a game manager. It wasn't even like a stud quarterback. We just needed it. We were 13-3 in the regular season, and it was
Yeah.
like the craziest thing that we won it all. So, like, guys, I like the Raptors. I love the way they play basketball, but like they're not a championship team, guys.
No,
They're not. They're not.
they're like, no. Sorry, guys. Sorry to burst your bubble. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. The NBA is the most basketball is the most talent-driven sport. You have 5 guys on the floor that are better, just talent-wise, than the other 5 guys on the floor. They're winning in 7 games. That's the way
Yeah,
it's going.
for the most part.
The Raptors are a fun team to watch. They're going to make it fun. They're going to hustle. They're going to rebound. They're going to fight. They're going to scratch their way to the fourth quarter, but they're not going to beat a more talented team in 7 games.
Yeah, and like I also don't want to discredit the Raptors' run for winning a championship, but I mean we remember what happened to the Warriors in that 7-game series. Like we remember what happened, and like I'm not saying that you didn't deserve the championship because 100% you did. But what I'm saying is like Pascal Siakam had a 37-point triple double tonight. We played horribly, probably as bad as we could have in the last 3 quarters, and we still lost by single digits. So it's just like I'm taking the Sixers in a 7-game series.
Yeah, like I said, I expected this started this stream, because when I first started YouTube, like I had when I was at barely over 1,000 subscribers, my videos were doing 1, 2, 3,000 views after games, and I did a post game video on a Sixers Raptors game, and it had 10,000 views overnight, and I was like, what the hell? What the hell happened? What the hell happened to this? Why did this video blow up like this? And I went to the comment section, and it was 95% Raptors fans saying stupid things in the comments. So I knew there was going to be a hundreds of Raptors fans in here just saying nonsense. I mean, like, people are saying, when's the last time Philly won a chip? Like, what's the point of asking that question? 1983. What do you want me to say? Well, we're not up. Did we say are we saying the Sixers are great right now? I don't understand. So yeah, it's hundreds of Raptors fans in here just to talk. But hey,
It's cool.
listen,
I love it. I love it.
you're at the end of the day, you're pushing the stream, you're pushing the YouTube channel. So thank you for coming in. You had to subscribe just to be able to comment in the chat. So thank you for subscribing.
I
And
love
yeah,
it, man.
that's where I'm at with it, man. You got anything else, Greg?
At least we're not the Heat. I'm happy we're not the Heat. The whole starting 5 like maxed out contracts, and they are declining quicker than I thought they would. So I'll take that. And maybe DJ, 31 years from now, when both of us are still doing YouTube, the Sixers will finally win a championship, and we can come on here and just be happy for the first time, really for the first time in our lives.
For the first time in our lives. That would be
Yeah.
nice. I'm looking for that playoff bracket that I had the other day, because I want to see the play-in tournament and all that. Guess I'll just look at the standings. Oh, we can screen share. I forgot. Okay, so Miami's not going anywhere, right? There's nothing they could do to
No,
lose the 1 seed, right?
Yep, they got it already.
Milwaukee is a half game ahead of Boston. Boston doesn't care. Clearly, they didn't play Jason Tatum in the game tonight. So this is we're 2 games ahead of Toronto. So if we lose 2 and they win 2, do they win the tiebreak? Like, we could fall to 5.
Yeah, we would. They have the tiebreaker. I think we try to win just because we're only a half game out of third, right?
Yeah.
I think
So
Boston plays Memphis. So if we win, they lose. We're up a half game. Shit, that would. Yeah,
If you were a betting man, what would you bet that the first round matchup is right here? It's Toronto, right?
as of now, yes. I think we make it to the 3 seed, and I think we win the next 2 games of the year. And Boston loses at least one, and I think we play Chicago.
I would like that. I would like that better.
would.
I know you said you don't want to play Brooklyn, but you would rather play Chicago than Toronto.
I would rather play Chicago than the Charlotte Hornets. I'd rather play Chicago than any team in the top 10.
What? They're that bad?
Yes, dude. We will 4-0 sweep the Chicago Bulls.
Oh my god. No, DeRozan's getting a 45-point game on us,
No,
definitely.
I promise you, TJ, we will sweep 4-0 sweep the Chicago Bulls. Embiid will not lose to that team.
That's bold. I would have them winning one at least one, maybe two. Just because we don't guard the mid range at all against the best mid range shooter in the history of existence, and we just let him sit there and shoot free throws basically the whole game, and he drops
Right.
45.
They have Vucevic, bro. We'll win because of that.
We'll win because of Vucevic.
He has been so bad. He went 3 of 19 last game. A center going 3 of 19. Plus, Embiid has literally never lost to the Chicago Bulls. So, yeah, I want them more than I want air.
All right, so to get to the 3 seed, we got to win the last 2 games of the season, which is against there's a Saturday and Sunday. Sunday is the Detroit Pistons, which should be a win, but we did just get our asses kicked by the Detroit Pistons a couple of days ago.
I think Sunday is the Pistons. I think Saturday is let me look it up.
Yeah, Sunday is the Pistons at 6. Saturday is a 1 in the afternoon game, which is weird timing. But
who do we play? Do you know?
I can find it right here. Schedule. It is Indiana again.
Yeah, we should win that. We should win both.
Yeah.
But
so
if
we win both, and Boston loses one. Let me see Boston schedule. Boston plays. Oh, they only have 1 game left. Boston only has 1 game left.
And they play Memphis. Dude, it's tough. Boston needs to lose, but we need to win both because we can't. If we lose one, we have the 4 seed because Boston owns a tiebreaker over us too.
So we need to win both, and they need to lose to Memphis.
Yes.
And we would be ahead of them.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm rooting for then. That gives me a reason to care about the last 2 games, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, look, I said it. I'll say it again. The Sixers beat the Raptors in a 7-game series. The Sixers sweep the Bulls in a 4-game series. But as we can't get to 2 seed probably. I don't know. I have no idea about the math, but I don't think we can. But yeah, man.
Yeah, no, that would require
It's scary hours.
That would require Milwaukee to they play Detroit and then Cleveland. If Milwaukee would somehow lose to Detroit and Cleveland, they would be 50 and 32, and if we win 2 in a row, we would be 49 and 33, or we would be 51 and 31.
Yeah, but Boston would still have to lose.
Yeah. So it's possible.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, Boston and Milwaukee going 0-3 and the Sixers going 2-0. Yeah, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get the 2 seed.
Yeah, you're right.
But I also don't want the 2 seed. Like, I'll gladly have Milwaukee play Brooklyn round 1. And I think Milwaukee beats Brooklyn in like 6 games, 5 or 6 games. But
that would be great.
It would be great.
That would be fun to watch Brooklyn go down again early. Especially because the fraud went there and didn't even play.
That would be wild. It would be so wild.
Pain-causing samurai. Interesting YouTube name there. Thank you for the support. Canada needs a second team to split the fan base. Saying that as a Raptors fan, I pick Embiid for MVP. Dude deserves a ring. Oh, man, the Raptors fans in the chat are about to cancel you quicker than Joe Rogan.
I love it.
Thanks, man. I think Embiid deserves a ring too. Yeah, they're already calling you a fraud in the chat. So, yeah, I got nothing else, man. It's 11:45 at night. Thank you all for coming through. Hit the like button on the stream. Even if you're an annoying Raptors fan, I think we deserve a like because we gave you free entertainment. The Raptors are not a championship team. You're all crazy. Shout out to all the Sixers fans that are still in here that didn't leave because they're tired of the chat. And thanks for hanging out. This has been Sixers Postgame Live on Run It Back Philly. Greg Melly at Sixers Greg on Twitter. I am DJ Eastwood. Tune in on Saturday after the Pacers game. We'll be here.
Peace, guys.
Peace.